After running our international orientation program for a couple of years and focusing on the two areas of resources and connectedness, I'm now asking questions like, what else can we do? How can we improve our orientation program? What other opportunities can we offer students to help them adjust to life at our university? How can we better engage our students? And even more important, how do we create opportunities for them to engage themselves in their new environment? Also, how do we put the students more at the forefront of the process, not necessarily the information itself? Based on these questions, I started to look at different frameworks that will help open up this conversation, including positive psychology, which is less about how to fix a problem and more to do with how to help students leverage their own capacities and their own resources. There is a lot of work coming out of this field, including mindsets, which I'll talk about in a second, and it has a lot to do with how we help our students overcome particular barriers that they face while they travel overseas. Instead of looking through the lens and seeing the students lacking in certain areas, more like an illness, we are starting to see international students as agents who have a capacity and a way of knowing. In this light, how can we use positive psychology within our own orientation program to engage our students? Lizio, 2006, a theorist from Australia, looks at positive psychology through three focal points, which universities can use to impact student success. The three are, number one, capability, number two, resourcefulness, and number three, purpose. I'd like to expand on each of these in the following slides. Capability has to do with students struggling with a sense of themselves or a sense of their own capabilities, how to navigate problems and manage the tensions that come up in their first year. Many students know all about the resources available to them, but still come to me with these kinds of problems or issues. The question is then, how can we grow our program to help students develop a sense of capability? The first way is to find opportunities in our current practice to get students more active and to think about what strategies we are currently using. Are we using a lot of teacher-funded workshop-based approaches where presenters just talk at the students? Is it very content-heavy or content-driven? In our current orientation program, I can answer yes to both of these questions. Can we embed opportunities for students to actively engage and make meaning of the resources? For example, in our intercultural workshops that we host, we often bring up the cultural adjustment graph, which shows the stages of homesickness, but usually don't ask for much input from the students. What are the students' prior or previous experiences? What challenges have they had before they got to Canada? How can we encourage them to bring this knowledge to their new space? Next one, the second way to develop capability is to help students to know what is expected from them. When students come to Canada, they are often expected to be self-directed learners, which can be a very new concept for them in a much different way than they might have experienced in their home country. The question again is, how can we bring this up in conversation? How can we embed this as part of our orientation? The third way to develop capability and improve student success is to focus on mindset. This involves talking about assumptions that the student has about their own learning. A very good book by Carol Dweck, 2006, called Mindsets, describes how these assumptions can have a deep impact on students' ability to engage in their own learning and to overcome difficulties. Carol distinguishes between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. Someone with a growth mindset views intelligence as something that can be developed. Also, if you work hard, you can get good at something. They are often driven by a desire to learn. They thrive on feedback because it helps them improve, and they tend to embrace challenge and be persistent when facing challenges. Someone with a fixed mindset sees intelligence as static. They might have assumptions about what they are good at or what they are not good at. They struggle with feedback, they avoid challenge, they give up early or easily, and they see effort as fruitless. Our students are coming from such diverse environments. We have to open up the conversation. For example, they might know where the learning center is, but if a student has a fixed mindset, he or she might feel that even if they visit the learning center, they won't improve. Orientation to academic culture. is very important. We have to embed this in our conversation and open up what it means to have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. Studying overseas is very challenging, and we must let the students know that learning is challenging, but they can definitely learn how to learn. It takes time. Having professors and other students talk about their own learning experience and how they got through it can help develop a sense of capability. Resourcefulness. A good orientation not only involves what resources are available, but also gets students to think about their own resourcefulness. For example, how they can connect and draw upon prior experiences and knowledge, and how they can engage their identities in meaningful ways in their new space. If I can use the academic example again, if a student is struggling in math, it is more than just pointing out where the learning center is. What are the resources that the student has developed within him or herself, and how do we help him or her connect these prior ways of knowing to his or her own new context? It is very easy for a student to say, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that. Opening up a conversation about these prior experiences is a powerful way for students to connect with themselves, especially at the peer-to-peer level. We have to be sensitive when we ask the question, where are you from? Because their answer can often box them into a certain identity that they might not identify with. Students today have such a hybridized ID that making a space where we don't make assumptions is very important, and to not shape our orientation around cultural centralisms, but open up a space for hybrid identities to flourish. Purpose. When students come to Canada to study, they make a tremendous investment of time, money, and also sacrifice time away from family and close friends. Because of this, there is a lot of pressure to succeed. Students need to develop a sense of purpose, which is linked to their own ability to self-manage. A sense of purpose is based on Lizio and Wilson's work, 2010, and it revolves around how students develop their own self-identity in their chosen discipline. During their orientation, students need to be introduced to the opportunities around them. They need to be empowered to make informed decisions and to have permission to try, fail, and try again. In our orientation, we need to open up the conversation about what it means to be successful within their chosen fields. The role of the faculty members and peers is very important, and so is joining a learning community and what it means to be part of something. They need to connect their motivation to their studies and talk about future ambitions and goals. A sense of purpose will have a big impact if and when they encounter struggles or problems in their first year. They are most likely to overcome them if they know why they are here and know what they have to accomplish. Sending them to audit a first-year class and join experiential spaces or penalty-free zones where there is little risk to open themselves up or make mistakes is also a great idea.